There is one warning from Richard Feynman that feels more important today than ever before, not because the world has too little information, but because it has too much confidence. We live in an age where answers appear instantly, explanations sound convincing, and fake knowledge can look almost identical to truth. Feynman understood something uncomfortable about the human mind. The biggest danger is not always being fooled by someone else. The biggest danger is fooling yourself. Your brain wants certainty. It wants simple answers. It wants to feel intelligent before it has done the hard work of understanding. Today, a person can watch a short video, read one post, ask one AI tool, and feel like they understand the universe. But Feynman would ask a harder question. Can you explain it clearly? Can you test it? Can you admit where your knowledge ends? If not, you may only be holding the shape of understanding. Real understanding does not feel like memorizing impressive words. It feels like being able to take a complicated idea apart and rebuild it from the ground up. Feynman loved simple explanations because simplicity exposes the truth. If an idea cannot survive clear explanation, it may not be understood at all. Imagine standing at a blackboard with no notes, no internet, and no audience to impress. You have only chalk and your own understanding. Could you explain the idea from first principles? Could you show the cause, the effect, the evidence, and the limits? That is the kind of test Feynman respected. Feynman often warned against confusing the name of something with understanding it. You can know the name of a bird in 5 languages and still know nothing about how it flies, how it lives, or why it sings. A label is not knowledge. A definition is not depth. A word is only the doorway. Modern life rewards people who sound intelligent. Big words, fast explanations, confident tone, and polished visuals can create the illusion of truth. But nature does not care how smart a sentence sounds. Reality is not impressed by vocabulary. Feynman's standard was simple. Does the idea actually match the world? You can fool an audience. You can fool a teacher. You can fool your followers. You can even fool yourself. But you cannot fool nature. If a bridge is weak, it fails. If an equation is wrong, the experiment disagrees. If an assumption is false, reality eventually exposes it. Feynman did not see doubt as weakness. He saw it as part of honest thinking. Doubt means you are still checking. Doubt means you have not surrendered your mind to certainty too early. In science, the ability to say, "I do not know yet," is not failure. It is the beginning of accuracy. Certainty feels powerful, but it can become dangerous when it arrives before evidence. A person who is too certain stops looking. They stop testing. They stop listening. Feynman's mind stayed alive because it stayed unfinished. He was not trying to protect an opinion. He was trying to find out what was true. Artificial intelligence can now produce explanations faster than any teacher, book, or classroom. That is powerful, but also dangerous. A wrong answer can arrive with perfect grammar. A shallow explanation can sound deep. A false pattern can look scientific. The challenge is no longer finding information. The challenge is judging it. Feynman would not begin by asking, "Does this sound impressive?" He would ask, "How do we know?" That question cuts through confusion. How do we know this is true? What is the evidence? What would prove it wrong? Who tested it? What assumptions are hidden underneath the explanation? The scientific mind must choose evidence over ego. That is difficult because ego wants to win. Ego wants to be right. Ego wants applause. Evidence does not care. Evidence may embarrass you. Evidence may destroy your favorite idea. But if you follow it honestly, it brings you closer to reality. To Feynman, being wrong was not the end of thinking. It was part of the process. A wrong idea, honestly tested, teaches more than a correct answer blindly memorized. When reality corrects you, it is not insulting you. It is educating you. The mistake becomes useful only when you stop defending it. Feynman made physics feel simple, but that simplicity was not shallow. It was a result of deep work. Simple explanations are difficult because they remove hiding places. You cannot cover confusion with decoration. You cannot hide behind terminology. You must understand the machinery of the idea clearly enough to make it visible. A Feynman-style learner does not ask, "Can I repeat this?" They ask, "Can I teach this?" Teaching forces a mind to reveal gaps. If your explanation breaks, your understanding breaks with it. That is not a problem. That is a signal. The broken explanation shows exactly where the real learning must begin. Try explaining a difficult idea to a child, not by making it childish, but by making it clear. Remove the unnecessary words. Keep the cause and effect. Use examples from ordinary life. If the explanation becomes impossible, maybe the problem is not the child's intelligence. Maybe the problem is your own confusion. Feynman's power came from curiosity, not from pretending to know everything. Curiosity keeps the mind flexible. Pride makes the mind rigid. A curious person asks one more question. A proud person protects one old answer. In a changing world, the curious mind survives because it is willing to update itself. Reality is often stranger, deeper, and more surprising than human opinion. The universe does not arrange itself to match our comfort. Atoms, light, gravity, time, and life behave according to patterns we must discover, not invent. Feynman's joy came from letting nature be strange without forcing it to be simple. Every model is a map. Every equation is a tool. Every explanation is a simplified picture of something larger. Feynman understood that a model can be useful without being final. The mistake begins when we fall in love with the map and forget to look back at the territory. Some explanations are beautiful and wrong. Some theories are elegant and false. Some stories feel meaningful but fail when tested. Feynman would not reject beauty, but he would never let beauty replace evidence. A beautiful idea must still face the experiment. If reality disagrees, the beauty is not enough. The internet often rewards confidence more than correction. The loudest voice spreads faster than the careful one. The dramatic claim travels further than the honest limitation. But Feynman's standard was not virality. It was integrity. Say what you know. Say what you do not know. Do not pretend the gap is filled. A real expert does not need to pretend that every question has an immediate answer. Real expertise includes knowing the boundary of your knowledge. The beginner often sees everything as simple. The expert sees the details, exceptions, uncertainties, and hidden assumptions. That humility is not weakness. It is precision. Feynman criticized a type of thinking that copies the appearance of science without the discipline of science. It has charts, words, procedures, and confidence, but it lacks brutal honesty. It looks like knowledge from the outside, but inside the engine is missing. The form is there. The truth is not. Science is not a lab coat. It is not a complicated graph. It is not a dramatic claim with technical language. Science is a method of refusing to fool yourself. It is a habit of testing ideas against reality, reporting honestly, and allowing nature to correct you when your mind gets carried away. A good experiment is not designed to protect your belief. It is designed to challenge it. If the test can only confirm what you already think, it is not a real test. Feynman cared about the details that could prove you wrong, because those details are where truth has room to enter. Many people collect facts like trophies. They know dates, names, quotes, and impressive fragments. But learning is not collecting. Learning is connecting. It is seeing how one idea causes another. It is knowing why something happens when it fails and how it changes when the conditions change. First principles thinking means going back to the foundation. What do we actually know? What is being assumed? What follows logically? What can be measured? This kind of thinking is slower than copying an answer, but it is stronger. It builds knowledge in the ground instead of decorating the roof. Feynman still feels modern because he fought a problem that never disappeared. Humans still confuse confidence with truth. We still mistake complexity for depth. We still protect our favorite beliefs. Technology changed, but the mind did not. The same old weaknesses now move at digital speed. Before you share an idea, test it. Before you believe a claim, question it. Before you repeat an explanation, understand it. Before you call something obvious, ask what evidence would change your mind. This is not pessimism. This is intellectual hygiene. It keeps the mind clean in a polluted information world. There's a strange freedom in admitting you do not know. It removes the pressure to perform certainty. It opens the door to discovery. Feynman did not need the universe to be fully explained before he could enjoy it. Mystery was not an embarrassment. Mystery was an invitation. Feynman combined wonder with discipline. Wonder without discipline becomes fantasy. Discipline without wonder becomes dry and mechanical, but together they create real science. You are allowed to be amazed by the universe. But if you want to understand it, amazement must eventually meet measurement. One of the best questions you can ask is, what would I expect to see if this idea were wrong? That question changes everything. It forces the mind to stop defending and start investigating. It turns belief into inquiry. It makes your thinking less like a courtroom and more like a laboratory. Feynman's lesson is not to worship intelligence. Intelligence can rationalize mistakes. Intelligence can build beautiful excuses. Intelligence can make falsehood sound sophisticated. The real virtue is honesty. A brilliant person without honesty can become very good at fooling themselves. A humble person with honesty can keep getting closer to truth. When you explain something, your mind becomes visible. Every unclear sentence is a crack. Every missing step is a gap. Every vague word is a warning sign. That is why explanation is so powerful. It does not only teach other people, it reveals whether you have actually learned. In the end, the judge is not popularity, status, tradition, or confidence. The judge is the universe itself. Does the prediction work? Does the structure stand? Does the measurement agree? Does the result repeat? Feynman's science was grounded in this humility. Reality has the final vote. So how should a person think today? Slowly enough to notice assumptions, clearly enough to explain, honestly enough to admit uncertainty, bravely enough to change their mind, and curiously enough to keep asking questions after the first answer appears. That is Feynman's spirit in the modern world. The real enemy is not ignorance. Ignorance can be fixed. The real enemy is false understanding. It is the feeling that you know when you have only repeated. It is the comfort of a polished answer without the struggle of comprehension. Feynman's warning is aimed directly at that illusion. The final lesson is simple, but not easy. Do not fool yourself. Do not protect your ideas from reality. Do not confuse sounding smart with being clear. Do not mistake information for understanding. And when you find mistake in your thinking, do not hide it. That is where growth begins. Feynman's greatness was not only that he understood physics. It was that he respected truth more than ego. In an age of instant answers, that respect is rare. So before you believe, before you share, before you claim to know, pause and ask the most important question. Am I fooling myself?